in Corinth. They had some confusion over the Lord's Supper, and they were acting as if this meal were more for some than it was for others. So the Apostle Paul writes them a letter, but he made sure to spend time on this particular issue, on how they're going to celebrate the Lord's Supper and who this meal is for. So tonight, as we take a look at these verses that Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, we're going to see who this special meal is for. It's for the church, it's for sinners, and it is for the self-examined. Secondly, we know that this meal is for sinners. Christ said that this cup is for you for the forgiveness of sins. That would imply that it is for sinners. After all, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. You think about the men who were around the table that evening, the sins that they had committed, the sins that they would commit. Think about Judas, who in just a few hours is going to betray Jesus. We also know some of the other sins of Judas, that he had been stealing some money from the group. Peter was there. Of course, we know all too well about his shortcomings. You looked around at these men with all of their sin and all of their failures and all of their weaknesses, and yet that did not stop him from passing the bread to them or passing the cup to them, because he knew that this was exactly what they needed. He knows it's exactly what we need too. This meal is for sinners. This is not bread and wine only. It's also the body and blood given and shed to bring us the forgiveness of sins, bringing it right up to our lips to assure each and every one of us that our sins are forgiven, that this sacrifice was made on our behalf. This meal is for sinners. And that's important to keep in mind when we get to this next verse. So then, whoever eats this bread or drinks the cup of the Lord in an unworthy manner will be guilty of sinning against the body and blood of the Lord. So what does that mean, in an unworthy manner? Certainly it doesn't mean too sinful. If that's what it meant, then who would be worthy to take the Lord's Supper? No, unworthy does not mean too sinful. If there's ever a time when we're feeling very guilty and we think, boy, I shouldn't go up there for communion because of what I did, because you feel the weight of your guilt, might I suggest that is the time that you actually should be taking communion? That's the time when you need it the most. We should never think, oh, I messed up so badly this week that I should not approach the table. Actually, this meal is for sinners.